All right, let's get right into this. For so many people, hair loss is just incredibly frustrating. You try all the creams, the gadgets, the supplements, and sometimes it feels like nothing is working. Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating study that looked at a group of people who were at their wits' end, and, well, they found a solution in a very unexpected place. So, what do you do? What happens when you've tried all the usual stuff and it's just not working? It's that frustrating dead end that leaves you with a cabinet full of products and no results. When the standard playbook fails, where do you turn? Well, that brings us to the focus of this story, a test group of people who were in that exact situation. These weren't people who were new to this. They were veterans in the fight against hair loss, and they had, it seemed, tried absolutely everything. And when I say they tried everything, I mean they really went for it. The study lists the whole gauntlet: low-level laser therapy, the well-known Minoxidil, all sorts of different vitamins, even those super specialized scalp products. Basically the entire standard approach you'd expect. And after all that time, all that effort, the result was nothing. Zip. The research puts it so bluntly, they said they just straight up didn't respond. No improvement, no new growth, a complete and total stalemate. And look, this wasn't some quick 2-week trial. We're talking 9 long months. Just imagine that dedication and the frustration of sticking with all these treatments for that long only to see absolutely zero change. It's no wonder they were looking for a completely different answer. But then something did change. Big time. After those 9 months of getting nowhere, a totally new approach was brought in. And get this, in just 90 days, a tiny fraction of the time, they saw this incredible turnaround. Are you ready for this number? 80%. An 80% success rate for this group that was completely resistant to treatment. I mean, that is a huge, huge number, especially for people who had seen zero results before. So what on earth was the secret? Well, it was surprisingly simple, at least on the surface. The researchers basically said, and I'm quoting here, "We fixed their diet and we fixed their gut." And that was it. That's it. No new miracle drug, no futuristic laser. Just 2 really fundamental changes to their internal health. Okay, so let's break that down because it sounds almost too simple, right? The whole thing had 2 clear parts. First, they had to address their diet, and we'll get into the specifics of that in just a sec. And second, they had to address their overall gut health. Now, that's kind of a broad term, but what it really meant here was looking at stuff like internal inflammation, how well they were absorbing nutrients, the whole microbiome balance. The entire focus just shifted from treating the hair on the outside to fixing the body from the inside out. All right, so fixing their diet, what does that actually mean? Well, the study implemented a really specific dietary principle, and it's worth noting this is an idea that has been debated a lot in the wider scientific world.
So think about it. After all those complicated, high-tech external treatments just completely failed, the entire solution came down to one single internal idea about what they were eating.
And here it is. The researchers just laid it out there. When we had them eat in accordance to their blood type, then they started growing hair. That was it. That was the key that unlocked everything for them. Even the researchers seemed a little stunned by how well it worked. They said, what a difference. It was just so simple. And that's pretty powerful, right? It's a great reminder that the best solution isn't always the most complicated one. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? What could this all mean for you? Now, we've got to remember, this was a small, specific group, but this study really does offer a powerful idea for anyone out there who's struggling with that same kind of treatment-resistant hair loss. So the advice coming straight from the study is this. If you have tried any other products and it didn't work for you, then you need to get your blood levels tested. The whole idea is pretty simple, really. Maybe the real roadblock isn't on your scalp at all. Maybe it's happening inside your system. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. After trying absolutely everything on the outside, could your diet be the missing piece to your hair growth puzzle? For this one group, it seems pretty clear. The solution wasn't in a bottle. It was on their plate.